Well, happy holidays, Naheed.
Thank you, to you too.
Thanks for talking to us again from Mabuhay, Calgary.
Yeah, thank you, I'm happy to be here.
Always a great opportunity to talk to our community, I think. So just to start off, how are you getting ready for the New Year's?
Oh man, I still haven't decided if I'm going to be in town over the holidays or not, and I think it is like the 19th of December today, so at some point I've got to make a decision. But it's been a very, very, very busy autumn. We've gotten a lot of good work done, so at the very least I hope to get in a couple of good naps and maybe clean the basement.
Well, I'm sure there's never a lack of events for you to do, because you're pretty popular right now. 88% I think is the approval rating.
Yeah, I want to know who the other 12 are, other than me personally and everyone who works in my office.
I'm sure it's no one in our community, I hope anyways. But what do you attribute your popularity to right now?
I have no idea, you know, and this is actually sincere. There, a lot of folks, especially other politicians, come and say, well, how do you manage that? How do you do it? And I just kind of go, well, I try to be honest with people. I try to be really upfront. I listen as best I can, and when I make a decision, I explain why I made that decision. This does not sound like rocket science to me. It does not sound particularly strange, but perhaps it's a lesson more people could use.
No, absolutely. I think a lot of people feel very comfortable coming up and talking to you, especially on social media. So,
and everyone in the Filipino community.
Exactly.
Let me tell you.
No, they love you. But in the almost 3 years that you've been in office, what has been the most memorable thing for you?
Well, you know, there's been a lot of fun things, obviously. It's great to be able to ride the horse at the front of the Stampede Parade, for example. But really the biggest thing for me is that I remember when I was elected in 2010, I feel like it was only 2 years and a bit ago, but there was a real excitement in the city up to that election and shortly after that election where people really felt like something new and interesting was happening here. I think it had a little bit to do with me, but it was mostly because people suddenly felt like they could talk about what they wanted for Calgary and what the future was for this community. And I remember thinking at that time, I want to make sure that we're still in a place where people are that excited and optimistic between elections as they were during that election. And I really feel like that has happened, you know? There was a survey done this summer where they asked people in every Canadian city just about their quality of life. How do you feel about your city? And Calgary came in first in 6 out of the 7 categories. And on the 7th one, we tied for first. And the most interesting one was, is your city on the rise? And 90% of Calgarians said, yeah. The city is going up. We're optimistic about the future. And to me, that's the most exciting part, is that energy and that excitement is still going on in the city. And people are just generally happy, which makes my job a lot easier.
Well, today, you actually sent out the progress report on Better Calgary, and things look to be really good right there. There's a lot of things that I think you can be really pleased with. But is there anything in particular that you think has been a great accomplishment?
Well, you know, people can see my little report card that I wrote on how council is doing at calgarymayor.ca. And I think that we have gotten through a fair number of things. A lot of work remains to be done, and we can get back to that. But I'm just generally happy about city councils working together much better. The city administration is really focused on shifting their culture to cut red tape and serve citizens more efficiently and better and improve people's quality of life. And I think that's great. You know, when we think about what we actually did this year, we opened the largest public works project in Calgary's history, the West LRT. You know, we had a magnificent celebration of the Centennial Stampede, the Centennial of the Public Library, and so on. 2012 has really been the year of Calgary, Canada's cultural capital. Amazing stuff has happened, which I am very, very, very excited about. Things are really moving. But I'll give you one little example. You know, a week ago, we had a water main break under Crowchild Trail, and this was one of the largest water main breaks we've ever had to deal with. And the city dealt with that in a completely different way than they've ever dealt with in the past, which is they were incredibly open. They told people what was happening. They had YouTube videos going down the hole. They let people know in advance, look, we're going to try and fix this in time for the morning rush hour, but we might not be able to. Make alternate plans. This is very different for the city. You know, we're used to being engineers like Bob the Builder. Can we fix it? Yes, we can. And the fact that we did this is a real shift in how we think at the city. And I think people really appreciated it. Instead of getting a million complaints about Crowchild being closed, my office got millions of compliments about people saying this is exactly how the city should respond to stuff like this. And we got the thing open in 24 hours. And so, to me, that's really symptomatic of how the city is doing much better.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that was great. It saved me some time on my route. You were very open on Twitter. And
Glad to hear it.
media. But now, you've been the mayor for a while, and you were always familiar with the Filipino community before you were the mayor. But is there anything that you can say about the community right now since you've taken office?
You know, I probably shouldn't tell you what I say about the Filipino community. Okay, I will. Which is, it's been remarkable to me. You know, I know the community very well. I spent a heck of a lot of time growing up in your basement. But it has been remarkable to me what solid supporters of me and of the community, the Filipino community, have been. I often say that they are one of the absolute core elements of my success is how much support I get from the Filipino community. And I think that's amazing.
That's perfect. But can you narrow down any specific plans that are coming up that will directly affect the Filipino community or any?
I mean, absolutely. You know, like everyone in the city, the community benefits from better transportation links and from, arts and culture, sports and recreation services and so on. So we've invested a lot in quality of life for people. We're going to be building 4 new rec centers, a new central library, 3 more library branches, a number of other investments in sport, including more indoor soccer fields. So I think a lot of people will appreciate that. We're also really investing as well as we can in smart parts of the road network to make sure that it works in more efficient ways without spending billions and billions of dollars. And one thing I'm particularly excited about, and I think a lot of the folks living in East Calgary will really like it, is the plans that we've got for the Forest Lawn area, and particularly for 17th Avenue Southeast. We will be moving forward with a long designed but never implemented plan to completely redo that corridor. When we're finished with it, there will be a bus service going down the middle of the road in a dedicated busway, sort of like a streetcar style service. And I anticipate a lot of redevelopment along that spine. And I think that'll make life so much better for people who are living in East Calgary.
Oh, absolutely. Well, it sounds like there's a lot of things happening, but is there anything that the community can do? You were talking about engagement right after the election, but...
Well, you know, I always wear this number 3, and it stands for 3 things for Calgary. And one of the things that I've been really keen on is government can't solve all the problems. It is up to every single one of us to make our community better, to every single one of us to use our own hands and our own hearts and minds and souls to improve the community. And that's what 3 Things for Calgary is about. It's just telling every Calgarian this year, 2013, reach out and do 3 things for the community. It doesn't matter if they're big things, taking on a new volunteer role, joining your local community association, or if they're small things, shoveling your neighbor's walk, you know, introducing yourself to your new next door neighbor. These things are the kinds of things that build community, and I really encourage everyone to get involved, not just in politics, but to get involved in the communities around them. The Filipino community has long had a history of doing that, but I would like to really encourage, especially young people, to continue to work in whatever way you can to make your community better.
Oh, that's fantastic. And as part of the paper, we love doing that, and even with the organizations that we work with, we know they're very dedicated to that. Going into 2013, though, we're looking at an election year.
So I'm told.
Yeah. So why did you decide to run again?
Well, partially because people kept asking me, and I figured that I had to just make a decision already. But you know, I feel like we've done some great work, but I feel like there's a lot left to do. We have to work hard in reforming our planning system. We have to work hard in creating a new relationship with the provincial government and in creating a long-term plan for transit, as well as a number of other things. So I think there's a lot of work to do, and I hope people will give me the opportunity to spend a little more time doing it.
Well, I hope so too. And with all this work, is there a final vision that you have for Calgary that you'd like to...
Well, you know, I think that when I was some years ago as a community volunteer, I helped to write a vision called Imagine Calgary, which is the 100-year vision for this city. And it can be summed up in one simple phrase, which is Calgary must be a great place to make a living and a great place to make a life. And to me, that's really what we're aiming for. We've got lots of plans and strategies and goals. I am a business guy after all, so I think like that. But that's fundamentally it. We need people to be happy and thrilled to live here. And we need to build a city that keeps people happy, and that's what I'm aiming to do.
That's great. Well, I think you're doing a great job with it right now, and I think most of our readers would agree.
Thank you very much.
Well, thanks so much for sitting down and having a chat with us. Happy holidays. Is there anything else?
Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to everyone.
Perfect. Thanks
Take care. Thank you. All right, that was fun.